my skin so gorgeous. We thank the life gorgeous. Thank the life gorgeous. I love the life gorgeous. Its torso is so tight. Thanksgiving Spectacular with Phil Mackey from Purple Daily, Score North, Flagrant Howls, recording this on a jam-packed Sunday after Phil, you just did an hour show, or how long do you guys go? Vikings Vent Line.
Well, it was a juicy one today. It was a healthy 90 minutes of anxiety-riddled Vikings fans who the Vikings blew. For those of your listeners and viewers that maybe aren't following the Vikings as religiously as you or I,
right?
The Vikings had an 11-point lead with 25 seconds left at Soldier Field today. Somehow wound up in overtime, and they wind up winning the game in overtime. But
now, when you say that, you're right. But where did the Bears have the ball?
Yeah, they were. It's easy to exaggerate. You know, they were on the verge of punching one in there for a touchdown.
Right.
With 20, so they score their touchdown with 22 seconds left. But it's fun. I don't know. I'm kind of a nerd. I like to pull up the live win percentage odds. And when the Vikings went up by 11 with under 2 minutes to go, they had a 99.9% win rate on ESPN.com. And then after it goes to overtime and the Bears win the coin toss, then the Bears had a 63% chance to win the game. Yeah. We should frame that graph, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Should I talk about the Vikes now, or should I talk about Thanksgiving? I just have a couple Thanksgiving thoughts, and then we're going to go Vikes, and then the T-Wolves who lost.
I mean, if you've got Thanksgiving takes, I feel like the world needs to.
I want to ask you, and you kind of intimated off camera. I want the Mackey Thanksgiving. Paint a picture for us this week, this Thursday. You'll be in a cabin up north in Minnesota, ice fishing. What will you be doing?
Yeah, you're really close. I'll paint a picture. Bellagio fountains over here and a Cosmopolitan chandelier bar over there with maybe some old Vegas, some Fremont Street experience over here. Yeah, we I don't know, we love doing. And not to get all cryptic, but like my family has mostly passed away in recent years, and we do have great family in within driving distance, but we've kind of enjoyed our little in and out 48-hour Vegas excursion.
Is this a tradition with the Mackeys?
It's becoming one, yeah.
And you obviously have to. What day do you leave? Because you don't want to travel to. You got to be really strategic traveling Thanksgiving.
No, it's going to be, actually traveling on Thanksgiving is better than traveling on like the Wednesday or the Friday. Correct. If you can kind of avoid the days around.
Right. So what do you do?
So we usually like to just do the travel in on the holiday. And
so
Christmas can be a little different when you're doing Christmas. As early as possible. Yeah.
Okay. And then what day do you fly back?
Saturday. Okay. Just make it boom, boom. Are you a Vegas guy?
No. I mean, I've been there. It's not my cup of tea. I like,
Okay.
I like the California coast, and I like cities, San Francisco, but Vegas is not my cup of tea.
You're more of a camping Craigers.
But I will say, if you're going to go to Vegas, in and out is the way to do it. I mean, the first 24 hours, okay, that's enough, but getting there and getting off the plane and giggling at all the bright lights, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, I saw something, I guess it was from Purple Daily, where you guys did the Thanksgiving foods here. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, I love that you've stumbled into this.
So because I have strong opinions. So was this you, Judd, and Declan listing the top 3 foods for Thanksgiving? Is that what it was?
This was a snake draft. And so the way you sort of see it on the social media graphic, this right here. This is the raw. I know we're white balanced out here. This is the raw snake draft here on my notebook. I'll take you through it real quick.
Okay.
So Declan had the number 1 overall pick.
Right.
And then Judd had the number 2, or no, I had the number 2 pick. And then Judd had the 3rd pick. And then the wraparound, you get the back-to-back picks going into the 2nd round. So the number 1 overall pick was stuffing on your graphic there.
And I fully agree with that.
Okay.
I was just doing favorites, but you're saying and then yours is gravy is second, right?
I tried to do mashed potatoes and gravy, but those
Right.
guys said, no, you can't put two foods together. I said, well, no, but those foods are together. And
Yeah.
they said, no, you can put gravy on anything on that plate. So you have to either pick mashed potatoes or gravy if you're going to draft.
Well, I think gravy is, I would go for my top three. I would go stuffing. Now, gravy is, you can use it outside of Thanksgiving, obviously. Biscuits and gravy
Hmm.
on, but pumpkin pie is in the top three. So, yeah, you guys did a good job. I just didn't understand the mac and cheese because I don't associate coleslaw or mac and cheese with Thanksgiving.
Well, so to me, two very different cases here. If we were to do like an official's ruling, major pushback on Declan for drafting coleslaw in a Thanksgiving foods draft.
Yeah.
And he then did an emergency press conference video explaining, hey, as I'm realizing, the Goff family tradition was to have coleslaw at the table. I'm finding out that that's not the case at literally everyone else's Thanksgiving.
Very
But
sheltered.
mac and cheese, I don't know if it's like a Gen Z family thing or like the Gen X parents who are having kids.
Right.
Mac and cheese was not considered a traditional Thanksgiving side dish until recently.
Okay, I
And
did not
now
know
it is
that.
it is
Okay.
widely regarded as
Right.
acceptable.
I love stuffing, and we don't cook. This is kind of embarrassing, Phil. I can open up. This is a safe space. I've never cooked a turkey in my life, and I like cooking. I just don't work that hard. It's too much work.
Yeah, it is.
So I always eat out or order it or eat out. Go to a nice place and get the Thanksgiving meal they have at the nice restaurant at the Ritz in Palm Springs. That kind of thing.
I'm with you. I can't say I've never cooked a turkey, but in general, if there's a restaurant that knows what they're doing, that steps their game up on a holiday, on a Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
I'd take my take my $100 and do what you want with it.
Will you be drinking in Vegas, and what will it be?
There may be an adult beverage or two consumed. I know you're a one martini, once in a blue moon kind of a guy. So definitely going to enjoy a martini. I think there's some pacing involved too, because, if you're going to hit a sports book and watch football or something and it's mid to late morning, you're a West Coast sports viewer. You don't want to get out. You don't want the martini too early. And now it's nap time and now you're fading. So there is a pacing aspect to enjoying beverages in Vegas, I feel.
So I drink a little red wine, and I've always liked cranberry sauce with my turkey, that tartness as a kid. And now I realize why red wine complements food so well. My quick Vegas story that you probably have never heard: the very first time Craigers went to Vegas, I was living in LA. We drove to Vegas, played a $2 blackjack table. I had a Swisher Sweet cigar. The dealer said, that cigar doesn't look good on you, man. You're too pretty boy. You're not smoking a cigar. And my buddy and I never been to Vegas. I'm 23 years old. And he goes, Sinatra's playing. This is late 80s. Sinatra's performing. He's 83 or whatever he is. He's old. And then they have these Lido shows with the topless girls skating with monkeys and stuff. And so we said that we were tossed. Where should we go? Go listen to Sinatra or go to a Lido show?
83-year-old Sinatra or...
Yeah. And we asked the cab driver. He goes, he's too old. He doesn't remember the lines. Go to a boob show. He actually said TIT, but I'm not going to say that on the live board. So one of my biggest regrets in life, I could have seen Sinatra. We went to a Lido.
But it was the best boob show you've ever seen, in fairness.
Oh my God, that's pathetic.
Where was Sinatra? Because he was at the Sands for all those years, right?
Yeah. I would have to look it up. And I want to remember how old he was when he died, because maybe did he die when he was 83, but he was really old when I.
So that might have been his last ever performance that you passed up to go see.
Sinatra age. Let's see. No, he was okay. Take that back. He was 82 when he died. So I don't know how old. So maybe he was late 70s.
He died up.
Oh no, he died. So it was a 78-year-old or early 70s Sinatra, and I didn't get to see him. I blew it.
Yeah, the history of Vegas is so fascinating to me.
Right.
I mean, the Rat Pack guys basically they breathed tourist life into it
Right.
back in the 60s. Are you, when you have dabbled, are you more of a strip Vegas guy or more of an old the Golden Nugget, Binions, Fremont, the old
I just
grimier?
honestly, I've only really been there for like business, and we went up to. I wonder if it was the MGM Grand. We were staying in a really nice place, but CBS had flown all the general managers from the country in, and Kevin James and Ray Romano. We were all there. We just have to parade of stars. We wave at all the local GMs, and then they did this thing where CBS they gave us we didn't have to put our credit card down. So I was having scotch and smoking cigars in the lobby, not Swisher Sweets. And then I interviewed. It was great. And then I interviewed Ray Romano later on the show, and the rumor was that he went down to the Polo store and bought a bunch of clothes and also bought some clubs from the and billed it to CBS. I don't know if it's true, but he was like, no comment. But anyway, so I'm not a big Vegas guy. I went to Emerald's there, and years ago, I still have coasters from the Brown Derby. That was in the 90s when I went there for the Brown Derby, which was an old restaurant in LA. But it's not really my scene, but I could see where you would have a blast.
Yeah, you got to do it. You stay too long and there's a burnout factor.
Yeah.
And if you pick the wrong place to stay,
yeah.
There's a very, I feel like, strategic way to approach it.
I saw Wayne Newton there.
Oh wow, that's a
his
rare
voice
sighting
was
in
gone.
Vegas.
His voice was gone, so he had his backup male singer belt out the big notes, so you felt like you got a good show, So have fun in Vegas. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's go to the Viking game, and I have a fun first question for you. I'm Mr. Positive. I'm going to be a little negative now. I want you to guess. I'm only going to give you 3 guesses. Who is my least favorite Viking? He's a starter, and he's my least favorite Viking.
Your least favorite
Not super strong feelings, but just I find him irritating. The same way I find Nickeil Alexander-Walker irritating on the Timberwolves.
Is it? Can I ask if it's offense or defense?
Yes, you can. It's offense.
Is it Garrett Bradbury?
No, but we need to potentially replace him. And it's also not, this guy's not a starter. It's not Dave Quessenberry. Okay. Yeah. I don't like him.
It's not the 3rd string left tackle that you're just grinding your teeth about.
No, this is a starter. And
is it Aaron Jones?
No, I like him.
He keeps fumbling at the 1 yard line. So I thought maybe.
Yeah. Do you have any guys that irritate you as a starter? Any starters that kind of let you down when they drop the ball?
I kind of love. Jalen Naylor is not a starter, but kind of a starter.
I thought he was a starter.
He's like their 3rd. Yeah, when they have 3 receivers. Okay.
Does he bother you?
Yeah, he did catch a touchdown in this recent game, but he also had a huge drop on a 3rd down.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as I saw it was him, and he dropped the bomb last week. He did stretch to get a touchdown today. Very good. But he bothers me because I just think it's quite a drop-off from Jordan Addison down to him.
But here is, and I feel like sometimes my role on Purple Daily, and for sure after this debacle of a game that they won in Chicago, is to take people out of the weeds of the things that we are gnashing our teeth about and back to the macro. The fact that we are sitting here saying Vikings pet peeves in 2024, the 3rd string wide receiver who might be like their 5th target, that guy, right? I mean, it's it's a pretty good season overall.
Oh, it is a good year.
When that is the main nitpick.
Very happy for Sam Darnold. What are your thoughts on back-to-back really good games for Sam Darnold? You guys like to, when he throws it away or when he throws a pick, you guys like to say the full Sam Darnold experience because he does turn the ball over, leads the league, but he's had 2 good games, right?
Yeah, we call him Darny Dimes on the show. And by the way, Danny Dimes is now available. You could resurrect. How about that? Wouldn't that be something? They talk about Theo Epstein in baseball. He's the general manager who snapped the Red Sox curse and the Cubs curse all within like 15 years. If Kevin O'Connell turned both Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones in like back-to-back years into actual competent NFL quarterbacks, he could just retire.
what's the story? Do we want him, and how do we get him, and who else is Baltimore's interested? How does this work? Give me some information that Judd might give us, because you're kind of the entertaining guy and Judd is the nuts and bolts. How would you describe the very popular podcast Purple Daily? As I asked you two questions at once.
Yeah, I would argue I think Judd is he's the information guy and the entertainer, and yes. I just have an open microphone to either drag the show down or crack a one-liner once in a while. But yeah, if we want to go deep in the weeds of NFL waiver wire rules, I believe because Daniel Jones still has 2 years and maybe $80 million left.
Yeah,
not all guaranteed, but if you were to claim him, you would be claiming the contract. So he's going to pass through waivers, and then he can sign with pretty much whoever he wants to.
Oh.
So Adam Schefter and it'll be for like league minimum.
Right.
And Adam Schefter had put the Ravens and the Vikings out, and there's been a couple other reports. Jay Glazer had said 10 teams have already shown interest in him. But so, yeah, I mean, if you think now Nick Mullins came in for the second time this year where like Sam Darnold gets hurt. Right. And he's limping out the field. Hey, Nick Mullins goes in, and most coaches would just call a running play.
Yeah.
And in both instances this year, it was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And then today, as we record this right after the game, he comes in, they call a pass play, and he just throws a dot like 20 yards down the field for a first down, and then he comes back off, and Darnold comes in. So
love it.
I kind of like Nick Mullins.
Yeah, he's gutsy. He's got the gunslinger mentality. He went to the same school as Brett Favre with no arm. Or a mediocre arm. I always thought Daniel Jones, to me, has some talent, and that talent is against an Ed Donatel defense.
You should always stash him away just in case. Whoa, this is the week. Wait, Ed Donatel got another job. Let's bring him in.
What was the big topic today on the Vikings vent line? Was it the onside kick debacle? Was that the problem?
Well, I think so. I actually, during the game, I made a list because going in, you kind of know whether you're the Vikings or Packers or anyone playing at Soldier Field. It always feels like, can I curse briefly? Or do you allow cursing on this show?
Which word is it? Is it
the S word?
Oh, yeah.
Weird shit happens at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
And so in that game today, you had a blocked field goal. You had a muffed punt.
Yeah.
You had a fumble at the 1 yard line. You had the only successful onside kick of the season in the NFL so far this year. You had an 11-point comeback with 22 seconds to go. And then a member of the chain gang collapsed at one point in overtime, and they had to stop the game.
Yeah.
So
Cam Akers was trying to help him out. What a nice citizen award for Cam Akers.
Yeah, the fans are booing, like, get this guy out of here. There's a football game going on. And Cam Akers is saying, hold on, there's a human being.
Right. I think we've won a few games. Have we just won a bunch of games at Soldier Field? We always lose there. I feel like it's like at Seattle. We always lose at Seattle. We struggle at Soldier Field. Was there a time when we went to overtime and you could see it was that you just said, I'll take a tie. I'll take a tie. Yeah. Did you ever say that or not?
The tie, like what do you even, we talked about this toward the end of Vet Line today. Like, what do you even, a tie is weird because
it's weird, but I don't think it hurts you.
It makes the math hard. You look at the standings, you're like, okay, are we
like
above that team or below that team? I don't know how it works. A tie, I thought for sure though, so the Vikings got the stop because the Bears won the toss. And I thought for sure pick six, strip sack, just something.
Were you surprised on second down that KOC kicked the field goal? Because I'm one of those guys that if I can score a touchdown, I score a touchdown. I don't trust field goal kickers. But maybe he was thinking fumble or interception.
Yeah, it was the ultimate who does he trust test.
Yeah.
Because do you trust your running back who already fumbled on the 1 yard line?
Right.
Do you trust your quarterback who leads the league in turnovers?
Yeah.
Or do you trust your backup kicker from the XFL who's filling in for your rookie Will Riker? The options aren't exactly all great, but he thought to himself, even backup kicker guy can make a whatever it was.
So that would have been a very bad loss.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? But you know what? Like for all the things that you could pick apart, not only in this game for the Vikings, but the last couple, they had that 12-7 win against the Jaguars, and then the Titans game got weird. If I were to have told you, and I think I may have told you back in the summer, I think Sam Darnold might be pretty good this year. I'm wrong a lot, but I feel like I was right about that one. But if I would have told you back in like August, J.J. McCarthy is going to be out for the year, non-factor injury, and you don't know how it's going to happen, we're going to fast forward to the middle of November, and this team's going to be 9-2 with a top 5 point differential, and Sam Darnold starting every game is going to have a passer rating over 100 and set a career high in touchdown passes before Thanksgiving. Would you be happy back in August, right?
Yeah, I would be. What I was upset about was more the Vikings schedule at the beginning. I said, everyone was, we're going to go 1-6 at the beginning and all this. So we've overachieved. Now we can be a little greedy. We're fans. We can do whatever we want. We can go to Vegas for Thanksgiving. We can do whatever. But I love our defense. Caleb Williams, I think, is very talented. He showed some plays today, so he's hard to sack.
He is. He can play.
Yeah, he's good. And no, I split with the Bears a lot of times. Bears are, they're not as bad as they seem. So the schedule, who do we play next? Do you know? I gotta look.
Yeah, it's the Cardinals. It's 3 home games. Cardinals this upcoming weekend, and then it's the Kirk Cousins game.
Yeah,
they got to flex that, right? That can't be a noon game. Let's make that.
I'm not worried. I shouldn't. I'm not really worried about that. Am I disrespecting the Falcons or what?
Well, they've had some clunkers lately, man.
Yeah.
They went into Denver.
Yeah.
Was it last week and just got smoked 38 to something?
Yeah.
They're kind of getting the Kirk experience where you have a good responsible quarterback who short circuits like 3 times a year, and you're going to look up, you're going to be like 6-5 and kind of wonder why you're not better, and you're still in the hunt, and it's better than they were the last few years when they couldn't find a quarterback. But
the Vikes will be on the road. Well, I think they'll be wild card game. There'll be a wild card because Detroit will win the division.
Or will they? I don't know, Kreger.
Okay, I won't get ahead of myself. The only thing I'll ask you before we move to the mighty Minnesota Timberwolves, and mighty I was talking about last year's team, but Cam Robinson, we hope the foot's okay because that's a problem. Yeah, the left tackle.
Yeah, you're down. Yeah, he's, even when fully healthy, this is actually something that not enough people have probably, because it's offensive line, but a month ago, the Vikings lost one of the best players in the NFL in Christian Darrisaw.
Correct.
And I mean, if he keeps playing like this, he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, I'm getting way ahead of myself there, but he's been one of the 5 best offensive linemen in the league for the last couple of years. He goes out and you make the trade for Cam Robinson, but he's kind of, by all indications, and PFF does the grades and stuff, he's kind of a league average left tackle when he's healthy, which again, that's good.
I thought he was slightly better. Okay.
Yeah, he hasn't quite lived up to the draft stock from maybe 6 years ago. But now if he's out and now you're down to Quessenberry, it's definitely a thing.
Yeah. Let us go to our Minnesota Timberwolves. Phil Mackey also hosts a show called Flagrant Howls, talking about the Timberwolves. He'll have Kyle Teige on. He'll have Jim Peterson on, the former NBA player who's the analyst for the Wolves. He'll have Michael Grady on, the voice of the Timberwolves. I've been on. How many games do you get to see of the Wolves? Because I see all of them, but I strategically will turn it off if it's a train wreck. I'll follow the score because I've seen too much over the years. Yeah. But how many games do you see of the Wolves?
I try to. I mean, today, I don't know why the NBA. What are you putting a Wolves Celtics game at 2:30 in the afternoon on a NFL Sunday for? Yeah. I don't really understand what the NBA's with their TV ratings are kind of hurting. So I did not see today's game. Did you have to turn it off for anxiety reasons today, or did you stick with it for?
Yeah, I like to rephrase it instead of anxiety. Just I don't need to see this. I'm a perfectionist. But we went down 19, and we'd cut it. We actually cut it to 5 with like 6 minutes left. And then they'd go back up 10. They made a bunch of threes. They shoot more threes. They shot 53s, the other team. But then we came back and we had a chance to win the game at the buzzer. Did you see that? Or I'd love to tell you about it.
No, in fact, we're going to flip this podcast, and I'm going to ask you dumb questions about a Wolves game that I didn't see, but I would like.
Was I asking dumb Viking questions?
No. You were asking great questions.
Oh,
you're
saying the vent line asks dumb questions.
I'm going to ask you dumb questions, which aren't a reflection on the questions you asked me, which were great questions.
Right.
Rob Dillingham, 16 minutes, 14 points.
Unbelievable.
A +2.
Unbelievable.
What did that look like?
Everyone was excited. Couple layups, quick. He's cat quick. Couple 3-point jumpers. The play that everyone really liked, he had it at the top of the key, and there was a switch, and Al Horford was on him, and he drove on him left side, threw it up with his right hand, and I'm like, is Al going to block this? If he doesn't block it, is it going to bang off the board? And it went in.
Snuck it in.
And Jim Pete, everyone. I mean, we made a run with him in there, and the bench was going crazy. This was the coming out party for Rob Dillingham. 6 of 10 shooting, 14 points. And we came back at the very end of the game. We were down 2 with our ball, 7 seconds left. Rob was not on the court, understandably. They had Dante DiVincenzo out there, Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, Julius Randle, and Anthony Edwards. They threw it into Ant. He drove left side. I guess he was looking for the strategy. I said, go for 3. You're not going to win in overtime.
Agreed.
Steal this game. He drives left side, maybe to go for the quick 2 to tie it and send it in overtime. And he's kind of cut off. So he kicks its corner to Jaden. Jaden is covered, throws it to Naz wide open, barely gets it off. If he got it off in time, but he missed.
Oh,
now I want Dante shooting that. I even want Dante in the corner instead of Jaden, but that's me.
Can I give you? All right, I'm going to give you.
That would have been a huge steal. That would have been we would have stolen that game.
I know that the thing I'm going to throw at you here is that if we made a pecking order of things that are relevant off of the game that you're describing, this wouldn't be like, but everyone's kind of freaking out. They're 8-8 and everyone's kind of freaking out. And we can talk about the weird Toronto. You literally have Julius Randle playing dodgeball, just throwing rifle passes at Gobert, but then not dumping it in. But I was curious about Dante DiVincenzo, who I love. And I think long-term, I think he's going to be a great fit. He hasn't figured it out yet, and
Absolutely.
They haven't figured out how to use him yet.
Yeah.
So this is last year with the Knicks, he averaged 7 catch-and-shoot 3-point attempts per game, which was second most catch-and-shoot in the league, and he made 41% of them.
Yeah.
This year with the Wolves, he's only taking 4, so the catch-and-shoots are in half. And he's only making 30% of the catch and shoot. So to me, it's like, get this dude some catch and shoot threes, and if you're him, you guys start making your shots. Actually,
well, I don't think it helps that he's a 2 guard and Ant's a 2 guard.
Yeah.
And Dante actually started tonight over Naw. And I always think when you're playing point guard, you have some responsibilities. Now sometimes I just have him bring it up and then kick it to the wing, and then he's just rotating. But, he has to get going. Phil, we only had 8 turnovers today.
How about that?
But
this is a moral victory, quite frankly, here.
The
Wolves are they're 8-7-1. They're not 8-8. They're 8-7-1.
I got a little issue with Julius Randle. Got a little issue with him. Now, today, the Wolves missed 5 free throws, and he missed all of them. He was 8 of 13. He gets to the line. He's a career 75% free throw shooter. That bothers me because if you're going to get fouled, make those free throws. Maybe you should watch Rudy. Anywho, so we're not there yet. I'm prepared for I hold space. I stay optimistic. We're going to figure it out. But I think my opinion was we took a step back when we made the trade. We can talk about that in a second, but I don't want to talk too much about the trade because I've moved forward, but we haven't hit our stride yet at all. And our defense is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
How many rebounds did Rudy have? 18? 20. I mean, so Rudy played well. but Boston's very good. But I'll tell you the issue. Just breathe, Craig. Just relax. Ant's got to be better. Some of his shot selection is ridiculous. Some of his turnovers are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I put way too much pressure on him. I did it before the playoffs last year, and he did everything. I said, we're going to go as far as Ant takes us. The Phoenix series, unbelievable. Mm-hmm. The Denver game 7 where he shot poorly, he still was a force on defense and hit the big shots when he had to. So we got to get a lot of guys going, Phil. Ant's got to play better. Julius Randle's got to play better. And Dante, because I'm not a big Naw fan. He's just too streaky. But I'm going to tell you the good news as I ramble enthusiastically. Rob Dillingham's going to play, and he's fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, that is go win a game against Toronto and whatever in Boston. But if you can figure out in the first 20-ish games that Rob Dillingham is a key member of your rotation.
Yeah.
Because part of this, and this is what I thought the arrangement was going to be when they moved up and made that draft pick, number 8 overall. And they did it, in fairness, before they made the big blockbuster trade a few months later. But I thought the trade-off was going to be, hey, we're going to run him and Terrence Shannon Jr. out there, day one rotation, and we may have to take some lumps throwing young guys into this thing, and it may even sacrifice some wins, micro, but macro, by the second half of the season and long-term, 3-year arc, 5-year arc, those guys are going to be huge parts of this thing. And to me, it was frustrating that they didn't even really start the experiment of giving him the 15 minutes, Dillingham. Terrence Shannon Jr. is down there carving it up in Iowa. But if you come out of this thing, and I'll say this too, quick side street, some of the best regular season teams in Wolves history took a long time to figure it out in the regular season. The 03-04 team that went to the Western Conference Finals, and they're bringing Cassell and Sprewell, and those guys had training camp at least. But they were like a 500 team in early December, and then they started to take off.
Well, Freddie Hoiberg. I mean, we need Dante to be Freddie Hoiberg.
Hit your open threes. Yeah. I mean, that's, you use the gravity of KG or Anthony Edwards. But there was a couple other teams. I think it was the 01-02. There was a 50-win Wolves team in the early 2000s that were actually like 6 or 7 games below 500 in December going into January. And then they took off and were gangbusters because the NBA is we're not even to December yet. And I feel like people are talking about this team with the panic of a Sixers fan who's looking at a 3-12 disaster or something, you know?
I think the reason is because of the teams we've lost to.
That's
I think
fair.
losing 2 games in Portland and Toronto. But we've had some really nice wins. And today was fascinating that we were even that close. Our friend Dane Moore, who covers the Wolves, today's game feels like the first time Rob Dillingham has really looked for his shot.
Yeah.
Thank God, because he's cat quick. He can get a shot off.
Yeah.
So someone said, make sure you shoot a little bit. Don't just run the. And he was making smart passes.
You
know.
It should have taken 15 games.
Here's Dane Moore. I'm giving up Dane a little plug here. He's an NBA fanatic, Wolves fanatic. My main takeaway from this one: it's hard to make it tough on the Celtics, and sometimes the Wolves do. They weren't precise enough today. That's why they lost. There just isn't much room for error against Boston.
Yeah,
but we played pretty good. I mean, our defense was interesting, man. Sometimes we locked down a little bit.
Boston wins the math game too, and the Wolves have tried, compared to last year, to at least give themselves a better chance in the math game. You know, when Boston's shooting 50 to 60 threes a game and hitting on a big percentage, how else if you're not going to hit that many threes at that rate,
right? How
are you then making up for the gap? And right now they can't.
I want to see. Okay, so Boston shot 37.5 from 3-point line. They were at 42 when they had the 19-point lead. Yeah. They were shooting the lights out. But I sometimes, even last year, I was like, they have so much talent on Boston. We had Cat and Ant and an older Mike Conley, and then these other guys who are inconsistent. But the problem is Rudy is one of our superstars, but he's not an offensive force. But he is a superstar paid like a superstar. And I just think Boston has a lot of talent. So I'm always surprised that we're competitive with Boston, you know?
As a dominant former big man yourself, who demanded the ball in the paint, sure, quite frequently, do you go back to that Toronto sequence that, well, there was a few things, but when Rudy, so if people weren't seeing this on social media, the clip's all over the place, but it's like a tie game. It's the fourth quarter, and Julius Randle is initiating offense in the half court, and the Wolves are clearly going to run a set of some kind.
Yeah.
But Rudy feels 6'7" Scotty Barnes on his back, and he's like, "Wait a second, I'm just going to back this dude under the hoop. No one else is in front of us," and he's throwing his hand up, and Julius Randle kind of almost like laughs and says, "Dude, I'm trying to run something here.
Right.
Get out of the way, dude. Pay ping pong paddle hands. Move."
Right.
Would you have passed it to him? Like, is the right play to throw Rudy the ball in that situation?
Let me unpack it. Multiple things. I was a point guard and a two guard. I played like Pistol Pete. However, I did post up on occasion. So I heard different things about that from different people. I heard Kendrick Perkins say they were running an ISO for Randle and Rudy was not supposed to be there.
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
And then I heard people say the problem with the Wolves is they're asking Rudy to play a different kind of defense. And he's supposed to show on the pick and then go get back. But Julius Randle has to help him back at the rim, and he's not doing it. So basically they're saying Rudy is frustrated with the defense because he's being asked to do a lot, and Randle is not. He's not a good defensive player as Karl Anthony Towns. No,
he's not. It's fair. He's not. It's fair.
But he's 6'8", so he can't do anything there. But so there's a lot of frustration. But I saw it live, and when Rudy purposely got a 3-second call, I was livid. Don't throw the game away. Punch him in the locker room after the game,
right? Or on the bench. Or on the bench. Yeah.
I mean, so it was very, very frustrating. Phil, I haven't told the people unless they remember. You're not a big Karl Anthony Towns fan. Of course I am. I have thoughts on him. My first question is, do you watch him with the Knicks or you don't bother?
He's been awesome generally. I think the other night, did I see that he was like a minus 35 or something, or last
night he was 1 of 9. They were ice cold and they lost at Utah, but that's what's his name? Walter. What's Kessler's first name?
Walker.
Kessler. I almost said Walter. Walker Kessler. That's the intimidation of Walker Kessler.
It really
is. But no, he's been playing. It's funny because I wanted this. I was anticipating after the trade what the Knicks fans would do if they would marvel at him. And they're saying, okay, I can see he's not the rim defender and he picks up silly fouls. But offensively, oh my God, they're like, they can't believe it. But so I'm enjoying that, and I'm happy for him. And the other thing is, I was kind of patient with him. Like the series he had against Dallas was unacceptable, and I said, okay, if we want to trade him, go ahead. But I just thought, this is how patient I am with him. I said, well, next year in the playoffs, he's not going to do that. He's got that out of his system. Okay. Whereas other players, I just think he can be taken out of games in big games.
Well,
but in the regular season, I just have to say something. I would watch him in the regular season, and he's such a pure shooter. And I would say, are the Wolves fans that don't like Karl, are they seeing these regular season games where no one can guard him, and it just helps you get wins? But you can take him out of games in big games, in my opinion.
All of those things are true, and I agree. Except for the thing about, I guess we'll never know if he had stuck around and makes another postseason run with the Wolves. Do we get a more fully formed version of him? I guess we'll never know.
And
here's
we'll never.
Here's the interesting thing.
Something, but I won't.
So, well, let me throw this at you. So they made the trade in part because you kind of nailed it. You get to the Dallas series, and they completely took him out, and part of it was them taking him out of the first 3 games and him not being able to hit a shot or create without fouling. So he shoots 27% in the first 3 games of that Mavericks series. Games that they lost by 3, 1, and 9.
If he shoots 35%, we win.
I know, and it's funny how that works.
Right. Yeah.
But I think they went back to the lab and said a few different things. They said, well, first of all, the second apron luxury tax thing is a major hamstring for building a roster.
Right.
He's 29. He's under contract for 4 more years, up to $60 million at age 32. Often injured. he's got these quirks that we talked about where you can kind of take him out of games, and he leads the league in fouls over the last 4 years. If we can sell high, we may be able to check a couple boxes here, and they did.
Yeah.
And part of it too was if we could get a couple good offensive players back, they were 17th in offensive net rating last year. So here's the thing. And their offense without DiVincenzo hasn't done anything yet. Mike Conley's Michelle. Right. And despite those things, the offense has jumped from 17th to 9th in net rating. Wow. So they've got the desired, but the defense goes from being the best in the NBA to not a train wreck. It's like fringe top 10 still. So they've kind of, they sacrifice defense and chemistry. And by the way, also credit to Cat. We're seeing this weird dissonance between Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert. Well, Cat, by year 2, completely bought into here's how you play with Rudy Gobert.
Right.
And you don't have to worry about that with him, but you do with Julius Randle.
I did look up a stat because we only had 8 turnovers today, but I noticed some of them were Julius Randle, although I don't know if they listed him with that many, but he drives and he plays bully ball and they'll slap it away from him sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good passer though. He kicks it out well, but I don't know if you want to, who averages more turnovers for their career, Cat or Julius Randle. I don't know if you have an opinion on that.
I think it might be Julius by a little bit, but Cat,
by a little.
Right?
How about 2.8 to 2.7?
Oh, is it? Okay. So it's this, but look at the fouls. Cat is like a full foul per game more than Julius Randle. So
Cat should do what Julius does and just let him go.
Okay. Yeah, it may work better.
Yeah, so we'll see. The good news is Rob Dillingham, I didn't know how early it would happen. I think he'll be a regular now in the rotation, and Wolves fans can rejoice. I think there's some lineups we haven't tried yet because I still really like Dante on the floor. I think what I overlooked, though, Phil, is sometimes the defense of these guys, the defense. He couldn't guard Jason Tatum today. It was ridiculous. That was Jaden. Jaden had to do that. Yeah. But maybe you can play Ant and Dillingham and Dante with Rudy and somebody else. I don't know, but I want to see some lineups. I want to see Dante and Dillingham with Ant playing.
Yeah, I mean Dillingham, because you hit on it earlier with Ant, DiVincenzo, and Nikhil. They've got 3 guys that you could use as backup point guards. Like they can all kind of handle the ball, but they're not really point guards. So using Dillingham to get his own buckets, but to also unlock some of these other guys and get DiVincenzo some more catch and shoots, get Ant some catch and shoots would be awesome.
Yep. Phil, I know you're busy. I really appreciate you with this Thanksgiving extravaganza, taking some time. You've been on the air. You guys do so many Purple Dailies, one of the top podcasts in the United States and apparently in Europe as well.
Boy, I think we're big in the Pacific. I think the Philippines. I think Purple Daily's pretty big.
Well, Cam Bynum. There you go. He's from
That's
the
right.
Philippines.
Cam Bynum, who's been great choreographing celebrations, right? He dropped an interception today. And I think after that play, if you would have said, what are you more devastated about? Potentially losing this game or not getting to unleash your next celebration? I think the celebration was on his mind.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Craigers.
That's our show. We'll see you next time. And remember, young people, I'm proud of you.
I love the life gorgeous. Its torso is so tight.